Botafogo is not on FIFA 23 this year due to some licensing issues between EA and the players themselves from Brazil. That's how it works in the Brazilian league. Hopefully that will change soon so we can actually have the Brazilian league licensed. I had a lot of fun back in FIFA, 12, 13, 14, all the years that they were licensed, because I used to always have players, a Brazilian team in FIFA, and it really makes me sad that we haven't had that in a long time. But I took it upon myself to make some Botafogo players and put it here on the screen. So this is, let's switch over here. Actually, let's go ahead and get the channel intro going, and then we'll talk about these players. All right, on the screen, I went to fifa.rosters.com. They have a card generator, and I created all of these cards. As you can see here in the bottom, Marcel has the little FIFA rosters logo on it. Now, some of these players I used the database from FIFA 22 or other FIFAs to get their ratings from, and some I just kind of remember by memory. So let's look at some of these guys. Let's start here. I'll go with Gatito Fernandes. 77 rated is what I remember him having in the previous FIFA. For some of you guys that don't know, I used to be the data reviewer for Botafogo, and I still am for FIFA. I don't get to update the ratings myself, but I get to make suggestions. But I do remember seeing Gatito Fernandes at a 77 last time that the ratings were available. Not all the ratings for all the players are available anymore due to leaks, but I do remember Gatito Fernandes being more or less something like this. Rafael, I took his card from a previous FIFA, and I kind of boosted some stats a little bit because why not? Also, some of these players, when they move to the Brazilian league, sometimes they will get a downgrade or they will get an upgrade, depending on how well the league is doing in terms of players. But Rafael would most likely be a 75 plus, between 75 and 80. Right back in Brazil for sure. Perhaps not 84 pace, but I wanted to give Rafa some love. 84 pace looks pretty good to me. Then Adrielson would be a relatively unknown card to the FIFA world. That's why I put him as a non-rare silver with low 70s basically all across, with terrible shooting and terrible passing, because that's how EA likes to do things. But I think 72 rated, I think it's even a little bit too high for Adrielson. I think if we were really being really honest, in terms of the game, I think Adrielson will probably be like 67 or 68. Something like that. Victor Cuesta is probably the card here that's the most believable. This black card here, it's an in-form card, meaning when the player does really well on real life, if they end up being on the team of the week for the league, they end up being team of the week in the game. Not always, right? Because EA has to choose what players sell packs and this and that. But Cuesta would be a very, very good card. Look at this: 76 pace, 83 defending, 80 physical. This is a good card for the Brazilian league. So, and I got the little cool dynamic image of him here using the mask. This looks more or less like Cuesta without an informed card would probably be like a 77 or a 78 rated, and then with an inform, they usually jump players to an 81. So that's more or less the rationale here as to why Cuesta would be an 81 rated. Marcel took his card straight up from the FIFA 22, and I made some minor adjustments here, but it's more or less the same. I think seeing him play, I think this is actually very low. Marcel definitely has way better dribbling than this. Not much better pace, but a little bit more, and his passing is probably like in the 80s. It should be in the 80s for Marcel. Passing and dribbling should be in the 80, like low 80s for Marcel. The rest I'm okay with. Now we got our midfield here. Lucas Fernandes, he's been doing great so far. I got his card from a previous FIFA card, so that's more or less where I got these stats from. Lucas is kind of known for being good everywhere in the midfield. So I think this is okay. This is pretty fair. In terms of the Brazilian league, I think Lucas could probably be like a 75, 76. But I think this is how EA would rate him. Probably even lower, like at a 71. But that would be Lucas. Chiche, great player. He started very badly for Botafogo, but he slowly started to get better and better. And I criticized him a lot in the beginning of the season, but he's doing well. So props where props are due. He's been doing great. Chiche will be one of those players that he looks great for Silver Squad with all low 70s. You know, put him against the golds, he wouldn't perform, but you know, amongst silver onlys, this would be a beast of a card. Eduardo, great player all around. Pretty similar to some of the older cards and other FIFA. I used an older FIFA card to base the stats out of. I boosted a few of these, but all in all, this is really accurate. I think that this really would be what his stats would be in the game. Now let's go to Gustavo Saue. His card is a little bit lower in FIFA, but I also believe that some of the stats were just plain wrong. He had such an amazing season with Boa Vista last season that this card reflects what an upgrade would look like for Gustavo Saue if EA were to update him to something more believable. This looks okay for Gustavo Saue. I'm okay with this. I think he's a much better player than this in real life, and I think next season he's going to be doing good. He's had a lot of injuries this year. Unfortunately, he has had a lot of injuries that's kind of, you know, put him in his tracks, stopped him in his tracks. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Saue next year. And over here on the left side, we have Jefinho, which is a speed and dribbling demon. Jefinho would have very high pace. He would have about mid to high dribbling. I think this is actually kind of low. I would put Jefinho's dribbling like an 88, because if there's one thing in FIFA that does not matter what league a player plays, and I'm talking about this, you know, based on my experience of doing the reviewing data, pace and dribbling do not matter. It doesn't matter what league they're from. This can go as high as 99. So I put Jefinho at 91 pace because I think it's really accurate, and I put his dribbling at 84, which I think it's kind of low still, but I still try to, you know, do this with an EA mentality behind it. Hence the low shooting, low passing, low physical, and terrible defending. And over here we have our goal scorer, our striker, our man, Chiquinho Soares, and him and I, we share this very same last name, so that's kind of cool. Chiquinho Soares would have good pace, good shooting, good physical, and okay dribbling. I got this card based off of a card that he had last year for Olympiacos, and I upgraded it because in Brazil, because league also does matter when editing these cards. In Brazil, he would be considered top 5 strikers in the league. So I think the Brazilian league would probably have, you know, strikers in the very low 80s. 80 perhaps might be a little bit too much for Chiquinho Soares. I think 78 would probably be more fair, more realistic. But this looks cool. And then I have Mr. Luis Castro over here, looking at Saravia just losing the ball once again. But I went ahead and I made a manager card for Luis Castro as well. If you have ratings that you don't agree with, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what those ratings would be and what you would change them to. Our FIFA 23 journey has started here on the channel, and I just wanted to make this little cool fun video so you guys can get used to it, especially if you don't know anything about the game. So till next time.